name is Robin, and welcome to English Grammar Now. Today, we're going to talk about some more modal verbs. I must, I have to, I need to. Let's start by talking about must. We use the modal verb must when we're talking about things that we need to do or something that is necessary. The big word for this is obligation. Some examples might be rules that we need to follow, or things we think are very important. So, some example sentences for must are, Rebecca must clean the room before they come. You must not drive on the wrong side of the road. I must hurry to get there on time. You can see that the first sentence is something that's very important, that should happen before a certain time. The second sentence is more like a law. If we don't follow it, it will be very dangerous. You also notice that we probably won't use the negative form mustn't. It sounds very formal. We'll take a look at some examples in a moment. Must can also have two other meanings besides things we need to do. The second meaning is if we're trying to persuade someone, which means we want them to do something. We want them to agree with us. Some example sentences are, you must try the strawberries. They're delicious. Or, you must not listen to the news. It's not very helpful. These examples are not rules. We're not trying to control the other person, but we're trying to get them to do something. In the first one, we'd like that person to try the strawberries because they're so delicious. The other way we use must is to talk about things we are almost 100% sure of. Things like, he must have met Susan at the concert. Or, you must not know who he is. That's the CEO. We use must in these sentences to show that we are very close to 100% sure about what we're saying. Here's some sentences for you to try out. These 5 sentences are rules that begin with do or don't. But you can change them into a sentence that starts with you and then must or must not. Try it out. Here's some rules you could write using must and must not. You must not call after 9 p.m. You must wear a helmet when riding a bike. You must not talk on your phone while driving. You must eat a lot of vegetables and fruit. You must listen to your teacher. You can see in these examples that there are different kinds of rules here. Some of them are very important for our safety. Some of them are more like rules our parents might give us. But for all of these kinds of statements, we can use must to say that it's something that's very important to do. There are 2 similar modal verb phrases to must. These are have to and need to. They have a similar meaning in some cases. But there are also some important differences. Here's some example sentences. You have to have a passport to cross the border. She has to return the book by Thursday. John needs to call her back soon. You can see that have to and need to go in the same place as a normal modal verb like must. They come before the main verb. However, have to and need to are actually called semi-modals, which means they work a little differently than normal modals like must. One of the ways they're different is that you need to match the verb with the pronoun. For example, if you're using have to with he, she, or it, you change it into has to. She has to return the book by Thursday. If we were using must, we wouldn't have to make this change. She must return the book by Thursday. There's no added S. The same thing happens with need to. We would say he needs to with an S at the end. This also means that we can use have to or need to if we want to talk about the past. We cannot use must to talk about the past. There's no way to change it so that we are talking about the past. However, we can change the to have verb into the past form, or the to need verb into the past form. Here's some examples. I had to work late last night. I needed to work late last night. We could not say, I must work late last night. The sentence is talking about the past because it says last night, but must cannot be used to talk about the past. However, using have to, need to, or must in these examples all have the same meaning. They all mean something we are required to do, a rule, or something that is very important. There is an important difference between using must in the negative and using have to or need to in the negative. They do not mean the same thing. If you change must into the negative, adding not, and a sentence like this, you must not touch wild animals. The meaning of this sentence is, you are not allowed to do that, or you are strongly advised not to do that. It is a bad idea. But if we use have to or need to in the negative, it has a different meaning. If you say, you don't have to touch wild animals, or you don't need to touch wild animals, it means you have a choice. You are allowed to do this, but you are not required to do this. You have the choice about what to do. So those are two very different meanings in the negative. Be careful to use the correct modal or semi-modal when you're using the negative form of these three. One more note about negative forms. It is possible to say needn't and putting the not together with to need, needn't. But it's a little old-fashioned and it sounds very formal. So we are much more likely to say don't need to. Here's something for you to try. Fill in these sentences with the missing modal must or must not, have to or don't have to. Remember the difference in the negative form. See if you can figure out which modal belongs in each blank. Give it a try. Here's the answers to those sentences. You don't have to go. You can stay here if you want. You can see that in this sentence, you have the choice. You're not required to go, and so we need to use don't have to, not must in this case. Number 2, Carol's birthday is next week. I must not forget to buy her a present. In this case, it's very important that I remember to buy her a present. I must not forget. So we would not use don't have to in this sentence. Number 3, why were you late? I had to stop to get gas. Number 4, the restaurant won't be busy. We don't have to reserve a table. Number 5. We don't have to decide now. We have a few more days to think about it. And number 6. It must be a great movie. Everyone is talking about it. For this last one, this is the meaning of must that says I am almost 100% sure about this. It seems like it must be a great movie. The reason is that everyone is talking about it. So I'm almost 100% sure it's a great movie. Let's take a look at a conversation that uses some of these modal verbs. Are you going to join us at the cafe? I just have to finish one more chapter. You must enjoy that book a lot. You've been reading it all day. It's incredible. You have to read it when I'm done. You can go. You don't have to wait for me. It's all right. I don't need to be there yet. What time is it? My watch must have stopped. 2:35. I'll wait downstairs. You don't need to rush. I'll be down in 10 minutes. Here's the examples of those modal verbs highlighted in this conversation. You can see the difference between using don't need to or don't have to and using must. In this conversation, they are offering a lot of choices, such as you don't have to wait for me. You have the choice. You can wait for me or you cannot wait for me. It's up to you. Also, the last one, you don't need to rush. If you rush, that's fine. If you don't rush, that's fine also. So remember that in the negative, using have to or need to can offer someone a choice. Thanks for studying these modal verbs with me. I'll see you again next time. Goodbye.